Oppo has clearly given considerable thought to how it will make its tablet debut in the West. Rather than launching a full-fledged flagship tablet, as it is clearly capable of doing, the Oppo Pad Air turns out to be a highly affordable rival to the Samsung Galaxy Tab A8. With Apple's iPad lineup dominating the market, all of the potential is lower down the food chain, with few standout contenders for the $200-ish tablet throne. Is the Oppo Pad Air a contender? It makes a good first impression with a refined design, a decent display, and competent performance. Let's take a look at how everything fits together. Simply looking at and holding the Oppo Pad Air, you wouldn't guess it's a $239 tablet. This is a stylish piece of hardware, with a slim 6.9mm all-metal construction and flat edges reminiscent of the iPad. In that regard, it is similar to the Samsung Galaxy Tab A8. The small visual flourish on the top half of the Oppo Pad Air's rear section distinguishes it from its Android tablet rival. The gently undulating texture of this plastic panel is distinctive and appealing, as well as comfortable to hold when holding the tablet in portrait mode. In terms of weight, the Oppo Pad Air weighs 440 grams, less than the Samsung Galaxy Tab A8. This is bound to show up after a long period of reading, web browsing, or gaming. The color options are limited to gray or silver, but the overall impression is of a sober professional tablet for adults rather than the My First Tablet vibes of some other affordable options. The lack of a fingerprint sensor reveals the Pad Air's low-cost status. It shares this omission with the Galaxy Tab A8, but it's still unfortunate that this basic biometric feature was left out. You'll have to rely on a crude facial recognition system, which is neither particularly secure nor entirely reliable in low-light conditions. The Oppo Pad Air has a 10.36 inches IPS LCD with a resolution of 2000 by 1200. That's a significant improvement over the inferior TFT and 1920 by 1080 resolution of the Samsung Galaxy Tab A8, with more vibrant colors and better viewing angles. It has a maximum brightness of 355 nits, which isn't particularly bright, but it outperforms its Samsung rival. Color accuracy isn't spectacular, but a gamut coverage of 89% sRGB and 64.5% Adobe RGB outperforms the Galaxy Tab A8, and an average delta E of 2.74 outperforms its low-end rival. It's unfortunate that the display's refresh rate doesn't exceed 60 Hz, but that's not something we'd expect from such a low-cost tablet at this price point. Apple still sells its iPad and iPad Air with such a specification, but they cost hundreds more. Having said that, the Redmi Pad now has a 90 Hz screen for a little more money. Overall, it's a solid foundation for video and web-based media content. The stereo speakers on the Oppo Pad Air add to the experience. There are 4 of them, 2 on each edge when held in landscape, and they appear to be good value for money. Oppo has outfitted its tablet with a Snapdragon 684G processor, which we've seen in budget phones like the Realme 9 4G and the Redmi Note 11. It's not a particularly potent component, but it doesn't have to be. There's no pretense of this being a power user's tool, and the processor isn't required to power a high refresh rate display. In terms of benchmarking, the Oppo Pad Air easily outperforms the Samsung Galaxy Tab A8 in the CPU-focused Geekbench 5 tests but falls short in all of the GPU-focused GFX Bench tests. In terms of the latter, it's worth noting that the Oppo Pad Air has a higher resolution display than its more affordable rival, which undoubtedly has an impact. It outperforms the Nokia T20 in every category. The Oppo Pad Air is better suited to lighter 2D games when it comes to gaming. Even when running games like Slay the Spire, you'll notice a pause when you reach the moment of death, indicating that you're playing on low-end hardware. If you require more power, the Xiaomi Pad 5, which starts at $380, is the next best Android option. Apart from the Snapdragon 684G, the Oppo Pad Air has 4GB of RAM and 64GB of storage. That entry-level storage provision is double that of the Galaxy Tab A8, which is another plus for Oppo. Other territories also have 4 plus 128GB and 6 plus 128GB options. We can easily summarize the Oppo Pad Air's single 8-megapixel rear camera. It's pretty bad, but you shouldn't be concerned. Unlike smartphones, the camera is one of the least important aspects of any tablet, especially one as inexpensive as this one. Because most people don't go around taking pictures with their 10 inches tablet, the bare minimum is sufficient. That's good news, because you're only getting the bare necessities here. Detail was poor, exposure was off, and the sensor struggled with dynamic range in the handful of photos I took with the Oppo Pad Air's camera. It also occasionally failed to focus correctly. There is no dedicated night mode, and shooting in less than ideal lighting produces a lot of noise. There will be no flash here either. There's a 5-megapixel selfie camera on the front, but you shouldn't use it for anything other than video calls. The 7040 mAh battery in the Oppo Pad Air is a good size for such a small 10 inches tablet. If you use it sparingly, it will last you days between charges, and I was surprised at how little power it consumed when I left it untouched for a couple of days. This is an excellent tablet for casual use on occasion. Our usual PCMark 3.0 battery life test failed on the Pad Air, owing to an annoying low battery notification that caused the app to quit at the critical moment. A quick look at the battery settings menu revealed that the tablet appeared to last between 8 and 8 hours 30 on this looping test. This would put it slightly behind the Samsung Galaxy Tab A8, but far ahead of the Nokia T20 and roughly on par with the Samsung Galaxy Tab S6 Lite. Oppo includes an 18-watt wired charger with its tablet, which charges it from 0% to 23% in 30 minutes. That's not fast, but it's noticeably faster than the Galaxy Tab A8. Oppo's tablet is powered by Android 12. That's not the most recent version of Google's operating system, but it doesn't matter with Oppo's heavy ColorOS 12 skin slathered on top. ColorOS isn't too bad, with a simple interface and a clean design. However, it deviates from stock Android a little too far, with a heavily modified notification bar and settings menus. Thankfully, it isn't overburdened with bloatware. Aside from the standard suite of homebrewed tool apps, it's devoid of unnecessary features. Netflix comes pre-installed, which is understandable on a device designed primarily for casual video streaming. The Oppo Pad Air is now available for purchase on Oppo's website as well as Amazon. At the time of recording, Oppo was selling it for £199, but the RRP is £239. Only the 64GB model is currently available for purchase in the UK, but Oppo's UK website does list a 128GB option in its spec list. There don't appear to be any plans to launch the Oppo Pad Air in the United States, but we'll keep you updated in the comments section if that changes. The Oppo Pad Air is a fantastic full-sized budget tablet that matches and outperforms its main rival, the Samsung Galaxy Tab A8, in many ways. Its design is just as polished, with a solid all-metal body and quad stereo speakers. However, Oppo's tablet's IPS LCD display is sharper and of higher quality, making everything from media playback to web browsing and gaming look and feel better. The Pad Air's performance is mediocre, but it is adequate for the casual tasks that you will assign it. The battery life is excellent, and the Oppo Pad Air has an impressive ability to sip juice when not in use, making it a dependable tablet to have on hand for occasional use. If you don't want to spend more than $250 on your next tablet, the Oppo Pad Air will do the job admirably.